To this now, the inquiry into the alleged impropriety at the Public Investment Corporation resumes today. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange was in the hot seat yesterday, and eNCA's Heidi Giokos joins us from Pretoria now. Heidi, good morning to you. So the JSE in the hot seat yesterday. Who might we expect to be on the stand today?
Well, we do know that the head of HR, Chris Paulwani, will continue his testimony today. He did not finish yesterday. It was quite a lengthy testimony looking into the various issues that the PIC is facing, the allegations of victimization from various staff members, as well as a settlement agreement that was paid to the head of IT of 7 million rand. The PIC is trying to rescind that, and they're actually trying to get her back into her position. Despite the fact that she was suspended, and she took the decision to rather leave, and that's when she was paid that settlement agreement. But issues like that will be touched on further by the head of HR. We also expected to hear from EcoBank. It is another investment that the PIC got involved in, and of course the Commission of Inquiry trying to look at all the investments and all the transactions that seem to be questionable, that seems to be certain allegations of impropriety in those investments, and whether or not they were dodgy investments. So the PIC, of course, the PIC inquiry, of course, trying to fast track all of this and move into the various investments that the PIC has made, given the fact that it does not have much time left. The final report needs to be given to the President by the 31st of July.
Heidi, let's look back to what transpired yesterday, this alarming $270 million deal for which no paper trail could be traced in as far as the Arin Energy oil company and the PIC. What actually happened here?
Okay, so from our understanding, the evidence leader yesterday told the Commission of Inquiry that there is no paper trail, there is no documentation, there is no evidence to support the investment that the PIC made into Arin Energy. This is an oil-based company with its headquarters in the United States, Texas, with various plants on the African continent, one being in Nigeria. And the PIC had invested over $270 million US, and that obviously amounts into billions if you convert it into rands. But basically, there is no evidence to support this transaction. And the reason why this investment is so questionable is given the fact that it was basically insolvent. When we heard from an advisor close to that transaction, he advised the PIC not to go into that deal because of the major red flags, because of the fact that this company did not look good, it was insolvent, its books were really bad, and it just did not look like it was going to be a profitable company. And the PIC, however, moved into that space. We heard from the JSE yesterday how those shares have actually been suspended since last year because the company is just not able to stay afloat. And now you hear from the evidence leader that the PIC cannot account for that transaction. It has no documents to support that. So the PIC will have a lot of questions to answer, because if there's no paper trail, then why was that transaction even done in the first place?
Heidi, just finally, therefore, the JSE General Manager also speaking about pulling out of the Sagarmatha listing. Talk to us about why the JSE took that dramatic step.
Yes, so this was the second company linked to Iqbal Server that was trying to get listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange main board, and the JSE actually pulled out at the very last minute. And this was because the CIPC, who's basically the watchdog of the Companies Act, had informed the JSE that Sagarmatha had not been complying in terms of filing its annual returns, and there were just some issues raised raised, and the JSE then decided to pull out. Of course, when we heard from Iqbal Survey, when he testified a few months back, he said that it was because of media reports and the negativity around this specific company that it did not list on the JSE. But you heard from Andre Visser, who's the general manager at the JSE, saying that that was not the case. They independently decided to not allow Sagarmatha to list on the JSE, also because of the red flags by the CIPC. But that was a company that they decided not to list because they also had their own investigations, and they decided that Sagarmatha had not stuck to the rules and regulations of the listing requirements.
All right, Heidi Giokos, thank you very much for that update.